Welcome back to the Try Swim Coach podcast. All right, folks, I gotta say, it's been awesome hearing from some of you about how the podcast and our breathing course that we put out a couple of months ago are actually changing your swimming game. I had one guy say he felt like he was drowning in a kiddie pool, but now he's out there crushing open water. That's what I'm talking about. Seriously, hearing your stories and wins is what keeps this going. So don't be shy. Drop a comment, subscribe, and hit us up with your questions or wild triathlon tales. You've got a coach in your corner here, and I want to hear how this podcast is helping you go from gasping to greatness. All right, let's get into today's episode.
Welcome you.
Welcome me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I'm good. I've been with
I
you
live
all
here
morning.
too.
I've been here all morning. Let's talk about swimming stuff. Let's not worry about the niceties
Of life and interaction.
and just have a podcast. Let's just do a pod, you know? Let's just talk about swimming.
Okay. We can do that.
Ready,
We can
go.
do that. Ready, go swimming. Well, I was having some, let's put it this way, trouble having people, and I'm talking about this in general because I've been doing this trying it with all types of my clients. Because I have a nice, at Swimbox, I have like mostly competitive kids, and then a slew of adult learn to swim, triathletes, and people who like to swim to work out. So I get like a full spectrum. And what I think is very interesting is that somewhere along the lines of life and learning and acclimating to things, people seem to have subconsciously decided at in some portion of their brain that swimming is just floating and swinging limbs.
One of my favorite things that
Not
you say.
actual work or muscle move. Nope. We just, you're playing a bathtub.
That's okay. That's fair. One of my favorite things that you say, I'm not going to steal it from you. I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
It's a way that you describe people when you tell them that they're not this when they're in the water. It's a root vegetable with toothpicks.
A potato with sticks.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh my God. So funny. Also funny.
Well, why do you say that?
I say that. Why do I say that? That's a great question. Should have had more coffee. I say that because I'll say that to you after you've been working with me for eons. Because sometimes people will get in the water and I know you and I know how you swim and what is happening in front of me. Why am I soaking wet? Yes, I stand in front of a pool. I understand that. I put myself there. I know that I will get wet. But why the splashing from the flailing and the non-understanding or even any thought that you just went somewhere that has no oxygen? You need to think and move and put in effort. Effort. I like
Potatoes
to say,
with sticks don't have any effort.
potatoes with sticks. You just chuck it in a pool, and it's like maybe the sticks helped for a little bit, but that's
No.
why. And then like floating, like if I really like swimming is not floating and flailing your limbs, because my favorite comparison to it is walking. How long did it take you to learn to walk? You don't know. You don't remember. And guess what? It took you a really fucking long time.
It did.
And you weren't understanding of things that were happening, and you didn't have all of the wherewithal that you have when you get older. So you just try stuff. But you learn to walk when you don't have all of your mental faculties. So you're learning all of these things at the same time, and you just don't have those memories because they're happening from when you just popped out of that little womb of yours. So you're in this whole new world, learning all this stuff, and you don't even have the memory of the beginning steps of that. What a terrible pun. I didn't mean that. I apologize. But it's the same concept. You're learning how to move and move physically forward, backward, in any direction, in a whole different world. There is no oxygen. You are in a viscous fluid. Most of the time, there's no bottom. You don't have any
floating.
stability. You have to create your stability. You do that on land. You don't think about it, but you're doing things all the time.
Well, I think this thought is can be a very helpful thought. And when you really think about how babies do eventually learn how to walk, before they walk, they have to build strength through their core muscles.
Right,
And
tummy
through
time.
their arms and their back muscles. They have to build strength. So it's not just learning. It's learning in addition to building ability, right? And for me, a lot of my time coaching, I recognize that people think they're going to be told what to do or demonstrated for them, and they will be able to do it.
They'll just mimic it.
Monkey see, monkey do. However,
You are not a monkey.
well, beyond
Do
that,
they do that? Is that real?
monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, monkeys mimic.
I mean, I know it comes from something.
But my wish is for people to understand that they have to be doing these movements over and over again to build strength in these movements. They have to build strength in places they're not used to using any work, really, because they're not used to being in a horizontal position on their stomach swimming or moving through water, right? They just don't have it. So you can't just be a potato with sticks. You have to
can't.
build some strength. You have to put some effort in.
And you can't be a monkey.
Did you look it up?
I did look it up. Well, no, just like even understanding the English behind the term of or the phrase.
Sure.
It's by learning something through mimicry without understanding why it works or concerned about the consequences. And I say that all the time. And what I usually say to my clients is, if you were 8, I would have told you to jump off the cliff and you'd already be falling, yelling, "What's next?" Because you didn't think about the consequences of jumping off the cliff. And so your brain, when you're younger, you can be a little bit more monkey see, monkey do, but you don't have the mental understanding of what you actually did with your body. You couldn't tell me how to do that in a different respect because you don't know what you were actually physically doing.
Right.
Like you don't understand, did you have your pelvis in line? Were your obliques doing anything? When you moved your arm through the water, what moved your arm through the water? Right? Like, what were you doing to do that? And that's how I will teach kids. And I won't just give them the answers of things that I know that, not that I've just said before, but they have understood and know how to do it. But sometimes I just need to help a little.
Right.
You don't get to say, I don't know. No. You know, come on. They always have it. And it's just like a little bit more thought. But I think that one of the reasons why it's difficult to do that in swimming is because unless you go to a PT or...
You get a physical therapist?
Yes, sorry. Unless you go to a physical therapist to work on a very specific dysfunction that you have. Oh man, I went too far. This is what I do in my lessons. I lost my train of thought. And then I'll ask my client, I go, what was I talking about? If you don't remember, couldn't have been important enough.
I think this concept is also why people who grew up swimming, who were just naturally good at swimming, don't always make very good coaches. Not so they couldn't, but because they didn't really have a true understanding of what they were doing or what they needed to do to generate the speed that they were going.
And then
they
on
were
the
just
opposite
doing, right?
side-
Or working hard, putting in the effort, putting in the discipline. All those things matter, especially as a coach you want to have those skills. But they might not necessarily understand the technical movements that cause them to be good.
And the older they get, if they can still do that, as a coach, you become afraid to mess them up. You're like, I want this to be better, but that's
so then,
like, what if I ruin you?
Hold on, I'm going to clarify.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to clarify because that was a little confusing how you said that, but
You mean like everything I say?
no, you're saying like if there was like a 10, 12-year-old who was just like really, really great, like, oh my God, this kid is amazing. A lot of coaches, even though they might see some things that don't necessarily jive with injury prevention or just good concepts of swimming, but well, that kid's fast, I'm not going to teach them any differently. And so then they don't actually ever learn how to prevent injury or to move correctly.
Like, oh, he doesn't
and
have
there's
a catch,
chance,
but what if I teach him how to put in a catch and then I ruin the entire stroke and
Right.
oh God.
Right. Which could be beneficial for some people,
Right.
but for most people, it's actually going to be detrimental. It's going to cut their swimming career short because they will eventually hurt themselves through wrong movement. But it's an interesting concept because it's the same thought in a way, right? Someone who didn't learn through technical means and just kind of had it naturally isn't going to be able to teach through technical means. It's just interesting to think about.
Right. And I think that another thing that goes along with what I've been trying to articulate, which is feeling muscle engagement when you're swimming.
Isn't it weird that no one can feel like their rotator cuff muscles, the muscles around their shoulder blades?
Yeah, do you find
I
that
feel
very
like-
odd?
What, maybe 3 out of 10 people can?
I can't feel it. I work it.
Okay.
And I go, I'm like I'm doing something.
It's so weird.
It's weird, like inner muscles. I feel like as someone who loves Pilates and works so hard to understand her obliques, you know, you have inner obliques too, right? Insane.
There's an end at the end of the word obliques, right? So that means there's multiple muscles in that group and there's internals. That's great. Mm-hmm. It's a really hard thing to kind of like wrap your mind around.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. I don't have very good feeling in the water. I never did. I only have it now from understanding my body in Pilates. And I know I'm not going to get all of my clients to do Pilates. I totally understand that. And so for me, it's, okay, how did I find understanding of that physical movement when my brain had more freedom and space, I think, to allow the thought.
Okay.
And so for me, I need air, oxygen on land. I had to do it on land to understand how to try to get that same feeling in the water.
Just because there was so much going on while you were actually swimming, you feel like almost like a constant distraction in a way.
It was constant, yes, because I mean, I'm of a different ilk. I only grew up doing competitive pool swimming.
Yeah.
Right? So the majority of my swimming memories are practices.
Sure.
Right?
You do a lot more practices than swim meets.
So many more practices. And I swam in college, but the majority of my swimming memories are from before that. And I'll say this forever probably. It's baffling to me that I thought I had a catch for like 15, I'm sorry, let's be really honest, for over 2 decades, and I just didn't. That's still such a baffling thing to me because like that was something I actively tried to do.
But what was the thing that made you believe that? Like, why did you believe you had a catch?
Because
the whole time?
Very simple and stupid. The person telling me to do it
Said it was good.
said I did it.
Ooh.
And I went, okay, got it, right? But like they couldn't see me. Do you know what I mean?
100% I know what you mean because that's one of the first lessons I learned about 10 years into my coaching. When I got the first endless pool for swim box, I realized anything that I thought I was able to see from above the surface
Previously from watching on a pool deck.
was absolutely wrong. You cannot see clearly and understand the nuanced movements from above the waterline.
Well, the water's moving, you're moving away from me. We have totally different planes of view going on.
It's just you just can't see it.
Can't.
You just can't. You have to be able to film underwater to see these things.
And so the first time I knew I didn't have a catch was when you
Filmed
me underwater. And I remember, and I'm sure I've said this before, I remember being like, haha, this bitch. You're going to see, I'm totally doing what you think I'm not doing. Why did I have that thought? I have no idea. Do you know what I mean? Like
100% I know what you mean.
I'd never coached anything at that point. I'd done like summer lessons for little girls who liked me on swim team.
Right.
I did not know what I was doing. I was just, what do I do? You should do this the way I do it.
Right.
Right? But like, that doesn't mean anything. I didn't know anything. So for me, I can feel muscle engagements more on land. Knowing, after you'd pointed out to me, that I had no catch and I'd never had really a good understanding of muscles in my back because when I was swimming competitively, and let's just keep it all in high school, I was often used at practice as the example of strong arms. So I would like, my coach would have me flex and show the bicep and your tricep. And
We
I'm
know
like,
we use that bicep so much in swimming.
right? Why was that there? Anyway. And that made me feel so cool. So the day that he would do it all the time. And then the day that he did that, to demonstrate me in a different way, to show that I had absolutely no muscles in my back. That's what he did one day.
I feel like that's counter to teaching people that they should be using their back.
I didn't know what he was doing. He just threw me up there to show the lack of musculature. And I went, huh? Because I'm not facing anyone. He's showing everyone my back, and he didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Coaches aren't telling you when they pull you out of practice what they're doing.
Right.
Like, so I'm just standing there, trying to flex my back, thinking before he speaks that he's going to be like, look how strong this back is. Absolutely not. It was like almost to the point that it was funny and strange that I had nothing back there because, well, I'm leading the fast lane and making all the intervals and crushing you guys. So what's happening? And that was, to me, oh, wow. With hindsight now, you would have thought I could have had the thought, okay, you're clearly not doing the correct work.
Well, why would you have that thought? You were doing well.
Because I knew from the Olympics, this is also stupid. Not stupid, just like this is why I knew, quote unquote, that swimmers had lats and real big ones. Because they would point that out on NBC during Olympic coverage. And I'd be like, yeah, look at that. And I have very broad shoulders.
You do?
So I always thought they were there. But they weren't.
Nope.
Right? And now the only way I can feel my lat engage is if I feel tension in my armpit.
Do you do this while swimming?
I only found that through Pilates.
Okay.
But I wasn't trying to find my lat. I was trying from my own workout desires to better engage my oblique. And I found that in a sideline position with my front arm stabilizing me.
Your front arm. That sounded like friend arm for some reason.
My friendly arm.
That's like your friend arm. Which arm is that?
Stabilizing me, that I would get more oblique work and engagement if I pushed that palm into the ground, which, I'll get more engagement if my armpit's open. That's interesting. Should I keep that tension there? Oh, I can feel my armpit. Something's doing something around there too. Oh my God, that must be my lat. And it was like a joyous discovery for me. And what do people not like to use in the water to move them forward? The muscles in their arms a lot of the time. They like to just spin them.
Listen, it's hard to push
It
against
is.
water. And I'm going to avoid the hard work given
Yes.
opportunity to avoid the hard work.
Or given when you're not thinking about it, which
Right.
is fine. And I'm there too, all the time. And I can talk about it because I do it. But of course, the swimmers aren't sitting around being like, oh, why didn't I do this? And what does that mean? Right? That's my job. So it's fascinating. So for me, because I knew from all of that stuff, I wasn't doing anything with my catch and my arms were probably just spinning and doing nothing. Well, what engagement, what movement is that in the water? Oh, that's your finish. Yeah, you're supposed to use your lat on your finish, Lissa. Good job. Oh, wow. You figured out something over the past 36 years that everyone knew. Cool. But that sticks with me more, right? Because I found it out in a way that connects with me, that I can mimic. Oh, okay. I knew I was engaging my lat when I pushed my finish and I felt engagement in my armpit. I need to maintain that as I'm swimming on my finishes to gain strength, A, B, muscle memory, even though I know that's not really a thing.
It is a thing, but you're talking about a different thing.
To like subconsciously change my movement
you're
by
talking about
being like,
neurological
no,
pathways.
past self, we make a new movement now. We have to erase all of that until I can do it without thinking. I never got there. I have to think aggressively when I swim because I don't swim that much anymore and because I have injuries that we're trying to prevent in our clients.
Do you think about engaging your armpit when you swim? And if you do, is your armpit open when it's engaged or is it closed when you're engaged? Like, what does it mean to engage an armpit? Right? Because I can put my arm against my body, squeeze really hard. It feels like my armpit's engaged, but it's not open.
100%. So I explain where I want you to feel it.
Which is?
After your shoulder has rotated your arm into the water and you are going to set your catch, tension in your palm as you set your catch and push back on the resistance of the water. Then you get your armpit tension if your elbow is pointing outward from your torso.
Mm-hmm. Pointing towards the side of the pool.
The side, lateral.
Yeah.
Because then it's below you, taking on the weight, right?
Almost like in
You
a
have
plank position.
Exactly. Everything's happening in a plank, a side plank, things like that to me.
Quarters plank and
when I watch swimming.
I just thought of that.
And it's really funny, even if you've never done a correct plank, everyone that I've been like, hey, let's think about this in terms of a plank and balance, or a side plank and balance, understands that it's more work, more physical effort. First, even if they don't know how to do a correct plank, right? Maybe like you're just pushing your wrists into the ground and your hips are dropped and not doing anything, right?
Or your shoulders are rounded. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
You know that's work, whether it's correct work or not. That's work.
Right.
And then people go, oh, really? And the amount of, if there's like a big bafflement there, that's when I'm like, how did you get in the water? How did you get from your car to the door? How did you get up the steps? Like, you put in effort and you were walking. You use muscles all the time when you're walking. Let's think about it and just make you horizontal. Oh, you need to balance because your feet balance you when you're walking. Let's talk about it and think about it like that. And so for me, I can do monkey see, monkey do with a muscle engagement. It's not a full understanding of what you're doing when you start there. But I've had huge breakthroughs with people just saying, okay, we need light tricep engagement during your recovery. Because your recovery, the movement you make after you're finished and your arm is in the air, that's still work.
It should be, yeah.
It should still be work. Your arm doesn't just come back forward.
Right.
I mean, sure, fling it from your shoulder joint. You're not going to swim fast, right? But you still did something to get your arm around. That concept, I think, is just very... It can be... I mean, I think it's very interesting when, like, just people's reactions from it. It honestly seems like that's something that people don't put any consideration into until someone has them think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you think you're pushing yourself through the water, right? I understand. And a lot of people are like...
A lot of beginners, I don't think they have a concept of what swimming actually is, right? Yeah. Not just what it looks like. That's a different thing. But what does it mean to actually travel through water? How do I actually do that? It seems to me, just off of like seeing beginners so frequently and helping beginners so often, a lot of them are very focused on taking their arm out of the water. Not necessarily focused on pushing themselves forward in the water. It's almost like they think as long as they make a stroke, they move forward.
So swimming works by applying force against the water with your arms and legs, which then pushes back on you in the opposite direction, according to Newton's third law of motion, propelling you forward through the water.
So I'm gonna go even deeper into that because I do explain this almost every day.
Deep water. Deeper into the water.
Now I'm going to go deeper into the water. Here we go. Pun not intended. When we walk, we set an anchor point with our lead foot. We move past that lead foot, and that foot comes off of the ground at the same place that you planted your foot.
Yep.
Okay. Swimming works the same way with your catch. So it's not where your hand enters the water.
Nope.
It's where you catch the water. That becomes your anchor point. Your body will travel past that anchor point, and your hand will exit the water where you set your anchor point.
But in the water, when you're moving mentally, that's a very hard concept.
Doesn't always feel that way.
It doesn't, right? And so I think that that's also one reason why I am so emphatic about the word push,
Yeah.
right?
You have to be.
And really that's just personal. When I pull, my elbow's tucked into my body,
Right.
right? And I explain that. I explain why I want to change the word because the connotations behind the words matter, and that ultimately really matters to me, which
Yep.
means at least one other person this will really matter to.
Me. It matters to me. I mean, I sometimes don't use the word push in lessons just because it's sometimes easier for the other person who has used the term pull for so long to understand.
Yeah, I know.
Right? In some ways, it's like once I've made it clear that we are pushing, not pulling, and it's just a sort of term versus an action, then I don't care really. Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's almost like I have to keep hammering that point home.
Honestly,
We're pushing.
I
We're
do it
pushing
for
this.
myself too, so
Yeah.
that I don't interchange them and then confuse someone. So I try to
that's a
do
good
that.
idea.
But another thing that I think is interesting and like also obvious. I mean, we know these things are obvious, but you don't. As swim coaches, we don't even think about them
They're
all
not
the
that
time.
obvious. They're
I'm
not.
just trying to say like I'm not trying to be a know-it-all with what I'm about to say. This is from Google and I just want to say it because I think it's not where you normally think in terms of swimming.
Okay.
So for swimming, the constant repetition of strokes improves your muscle endurance because water is much denser than air. The higher resistance against the body's movements cause the muscles to be strengthened and toned.
High rep, low weight.
Yeah, and that's what I'll tell people. You're pushing yourself through the water over and over and over again. So much is going on. You're gaining strength. There's mental work going on. Oh, and by the way, there's no oxygen. So of course it's difficult to understand in the water.
It could be, yeah.
Right?
I get how people, struggle with connecting dots. One of my one of my favorite things in a lesson. It's so funny when you have maybe like a 2 to 5 minute conversation about
Yeah.
the thing you want someone to do. All right, let's try it. And as soon as they go underwater, you can see that they have completely forgot everything
Everything you
they were
say.
talking about, and they'll come up almost like immediately be like, "Oh my god, I just forgot everything we just talked about. What am I supposed to do?" That's one of my
my
favorite
favorite.
things because it just speaks to the idea that you can conceptually understand something, but then when it's time to actually apply it, your brain goes,
What?
so it's just really always a funny moment in a
Because
lesson.
it's so much mental work.
It really is.
And that's why saying things in so many different ways is important. And that's why I'm so harsh and aggressive with the words that I choose to use to try to make it a little easier.
You're precise.
mentally.
You're not aggressive. You're not harsh.
Precise, okay.
You're precise. All right.
Okay. Right? To try to make that easier. Because another question that I love to ask my clients, that round was great. Was it more physical work or more mental work to achieve those movements? And often it's more mental work.
I want to talk on let's touch on this for a second. I think it's a really good point. Someone who's listening to this podcast right now is hearing how you coach people, but they should be taking that concept and applying it to themselves. If they're supposed to be doing an easy 50, what was your question? Did you feel the muscle engagement in that easy 50?
Did you have tricep engagement on
Right.
your recovery?
People
I
should be
wasn't even
asking
thinking about
themselves
that.
this.
Let me try again.
Right, because I was contemplating like things I want to share with people on the podcast in general, right? Things that people can understand through listening and not seeing.
Right.
Right.
Which
And-
we know is so difficult.
And so it's amazing to me. We've been doing podcasts now for a very long time, right? Because we had a podcast for SwimBots, and people would reach out and say, "Oh my God, your words helped me swim better,"
Yeah.
which is like crazy for us to experience. But at the end of my lessons, I try to remember to always ask what somebody found beneficial or helpful during that lesson. People should be asking them that question of themselves after every swim workout they do. What did I find beneficial to this swim workout? What did I learn from this swim workout?
Even if the answer is, well, fuck, nothing. I wasn't thinking today. Oh, well,
I mean, there's always something
that's
to learn.
fine.
I don't believe that I
Because
didn't
then
learn
you,
anything.
right? But, well, no, I'm just saying,
No,
I'm saying,
I'm very like hard on this. If you're gonna take the time to contemplate what you learned, I don't know is not acceptable. You should be able to say, I learned I don't have as much endurance as I thought. That's fine, but you learned something.
Right. But from what I was saying is that you can go, shit, didn't do any of that. And then you think through that. What did you do? Were you mentally focused? Were you thinking about your to-do list for today or what you have to buy at the grocery store or the Amazon returns that are in the back of your car? I do that.
Sure.
And that's why I ask those questions. Did you sing a song that you didn't know was stuck in your head? And now you're singing like Tom's Diner, right? From whenever that God shouldn't have said that.
I don't know why you listed that song, but okay. I know the song.
You're welcome, everyone. You're welcome. There's no chorus. It's just all words. You can't even go back. But thinking I didn't do any of the work that I should have done is still thinking through what you did. Because then you're going, well, what? Don't stop there, keep asking yourself those questions. What did I do? If you did focus on your grocery list, you didn't do anything wrong. And you now are aware that you did that. So, okay, I probably will do that again. Can I figure out mentally how to get myself back to what I'm doing physically? And for me, I have to have a physical feeling to do that. It like having something to aim for, like the tricep engagement in the air, helps me bring myself back, even if I just acknowledge that I didn't do it.
Sure.
Because then I'm still remembering it's supposed to be there. Can I try to figure out how to do that next time? So that to me would be a total mental work.
Yeah, and
right?
I always sort of recommend that if you want to have a sort of list of things to focus on while you swim, it shouldn't really be more than 3 things.
Some people can't even do 3.
Yeah, I would say try to stick to 1 per workout, but if you have to switch. But it is perfectly acceptable for those things to be, did I feel my tricep engage as I recovered?
Yep.
All right. It can be about muscle engagement versus a specific type of movement. It can be conceptual about how one cue that you think of affects the rest of your body, right? Those are the really important types of thoughts. And people need to go into workouts with some concept of thinking about what they're going to be doing. And then did they apply it? And was it beneficial? Versus, I know when I go run, I'm checking my pace, checking my heart rate. I'm not really checking in on much else, right?
Right. What do you?
Swimming requires a lot more checking in on, I think, personally.
Yeah.
So I want to go back because you said something about your lats, and I find this very interesting.
My lats are very fascinating.
Not your lats necessarily, but it was about the lats and the obliques. When you think about those muscles and muscle groups, they run lateral on your body, right? I anecdotally have noticed that when people's obliques are weak or maybe they have a hard time using their obliques, they also have a really hard time finding their lats and using their lats. It's almost like sometimes they confuse one for the other. Sometimes they're both a little dysfunctional and they're not really good at anything on the side of their bodies, right? They're like straight up use their anterior chain or posterior chain, but don't really use anything on the side of them.
Yeah.
So I just find that really an interesting connection. And it sounds like as you did Pilates and your core was getting stronger, your obliques were getting stronger, you were also able to find your lats a little bit more easily.
For me,
there's a connection there.
Yeah, I had to understand how to access them, right? But I didn't have someone telling me that. So I was just, honestly, I went about Pilates because I got bored doing yoga. And then at one point when I was a child and watching Alias, and Jennifer Garner was just my absolute idol, I wanted abs.
Who doesn't?
Right? That's it. There's nothing past that. There's no more thought. And then I waited 30 years to try to get them. But as I was doing that, like, you get to understand your body so much more if you allow yourself to think about it. And I think that that's one of the most interesting things about coaching is that I get to just help people think about things that maybe they've never thought of before.
Yeah.
Right? And
or just frame it in a different way.
Exactly.
I do get myself into trouble sometimes because I will go too far and frame it in such a
Specific way?
maybe specific or conceptual way that people are like, huh?
Oh.
You know how I think sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you can be over in left field.
Yeah.
And we're all like at Arby's drinking milkshakes.
yeah, so I have to be careful about that, but I also do believe if I can get someone to think of something in a novel way, in a way that's like very different than how they normally think, they'll remember it.
And that's what
And
I
that's why I
think
do say
about
weird shit to people.
your anchor point thought. I realized that I have a very similar thought, but because I connected to my thought, that's the one that I use to talk about. To explain that concept, I tell people, and this is very personal, and I don't remember when I started doing this, but I do it to this day, and I've done it since you told me I didn't have a catch, so we're going on at least 10 years now. I imagine, and I'm not a visual thinker, so I think that the thought of imagining an image makes me a little bit more mentally aware when I do this.
Makes sense.
So I'm not a visual thinker. And so I make myself try to imagine that I am swimming over a ladder and that when I go to catch, I have to catch a rung of the ladder. I have to maintain my push past that rung. And then I have to fully finish the push to reach into the next rung. I fully imagine that. And it is the same concept of what you're talking about with anchor points. And I have had people be like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. And then I have people go, what in the flying hell? What? Do what? Right? It definitely has the opposite effect sometimes, like anything you can say.
Yeah, someone can't picture it for whatever reason.
But I have had that thought for so long. And I think what's really like along these same lines, it's fascinating to me that I've kept it.
I think it's a great thought.
It works really well, but it is a lot of mental thought first.
Yeah.
You have to realize you didn't do something. You have to then make yourself try to do it. Then think about, did I accomplish it? Do I have to change it? And don't get me wrong, I totally understand. Swimming is repeat, 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 but so is walking. You trip all the time.
Right.
You will make mistakes, and then you just correct it.
Yeah.
I'll find footage someday of an Olympian doing something wrong at the Olympics.
Swimming-wise?
I'll find it.
Swimming-wise?
Yeah.
They all are.
Exactly, but you can't find it to show someone. And so people, I can't be like, look, concrete evidence. We just know.
Nobody's perfect.
Exactly. Michael Phelps is not perfect. Derek Torres, not perfect.
Not perfect in personality, in their being, not perfect in their swimming.
Whoever
Nobody
that
is.
woman was who swam at the Olympics like 15 years ago with nails that curled under her hand.
I can't remember who that was.
I can't
Was that a
remember
French
her
woman?
name. I think so. I don't think she was
She's
American.
French or
Because I
Russian,
always want to
maybe.
think
I
it's
can't
Stasiana Stitz, but it's not.
Maybe.
She had nails too, but like the woman I'm talking about, they like curled.
She might have been Italian. I don't remember.
Like curled, like oh, what is that movie? Like the cliff in, not a cliff. It's like a ledge.
Yeah,
I can see it.
I know what you're saying.
Oh, come on. Nightmare Before Christmas.
You got it.
They like curled under like that. And she was baller. She was so fast. And I remember thinking as a kid, man, how did those things not break?
Yeah, right?
There's so much force being put in them. And also, ow.
It seems
Yeah,
like
ow.
I want you to also have some, I don't know, I just want you to have some camaraderie with me in that I've had to recently eat a humble pie when it came to my catch as well. Because I'm working on this catch course, which I hope to finish this week.
You were crushing that yesterday. I'm sure you will.
And filming myself catch, and then having to give myself a video analysis about my catch.
So
I just want it to be better.
Giant piece of humble pie.
Better. I need to work on it, right? That's all it is. It's just, you got to work on it. You got to be precise and give time and opportunity to work on these things. You can't work on it all the time because
you can't work on everything
you need
all
both
the time.
technique and endurance. You can't just have technique. Sorry. So, I suck too, basically.
In perspective, we suck. To put something in perspective from what I am doing in physical therapy right now is literally trying to make sure that the left ball of, or the ball of my right foot keeps contact with the ground while I'm walking. That is so difficult for me.
so interesting. That's hard.
That's my problem. I'm supposed to be working on fixing that and then doing things up my body to fix issues in my neck. It's just infuriating to think about. Right? But it's such a specific, small movement that I am trying to A, understand how to do, B, understand my dysfunction and what I'm doing instead, and C, fixing it. And then you're gaining strength at the same time because I'm weak in apparently that part of my body, right? But it's such a small, itty-bitty thing that connects to so many other things. And I have so much trouble focusing on trying to do that. Because to me, it's not physical work,
Right.
right? So I have trouble getting feedback, knowing I'm correct in my movement from my body. And so that makes me not want to do it. And it makes it difficult for me to understand. Even though I do understand anatomically, ooh, that was good, what I'm trying to accomplish. But I'm not able to do it. And then it's like, okay, you really got to work to figure out how to do that. And that's what's really hard for me right now, even though I understand movements very well.
Yeah, it's beyond just understanding, right?
Right. And so mentally, it's very difficult for me to work on that. And I have one exercise I'm supposed to be doing. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's not physically difficult. It's mentally vexing and awful.
Ooh. I was thinking about the weird things that I like to share with people, thought-wise or whatever-wise, to invoke sort of like a concept to them. One of the things that I have found to be very powerful. I haven't met any of my clients that didn't tell me that what I did with them wasn't helpful, and all I've done was showed them a YouTube video of a mud skipper.
The fish!
Because mud skippers are sort of like the aquatic version of swimmers, right? They're aquatic animals that want to spend time on land. We're land animals that want to spend time in water. So it's kind of interesting when you watch a fish on land moving
Forward.
When they only have fins, the tools that they use to move forward. They look remarkably similar to someone swimming butterfly.
And freestyle.
And we know that butterfly is just really freestyle with both arms going at the same time. So I'll add a link to the podcast.
To the little fish.
To the fish video. So
it's like the ugliest, cutest fish you've ever seen.
I
And
love
let
mud
yourself
skippers.
keep watching it move around on land. The video he's going to link is adorable. It's a mud skipper coming out of a hole.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Watch the mud skipper come out of the hole. What Dominic's talking about is his fins that are on basically his belly.
Sides of his body.
Side belly. Okay?
Kind of like our arms are on the side of our body.
Uh-huh. And they move in a circular motion under and to the side of him. And that's your catch, your push, and your finish.
And your recovery.
And your recovery.
You could see the mud skipper recover as well.
If he rotated, he's swimming
as a human.
as a human on land. The fish swimming as a human. Yeah,
Right.
that totally made sense.
All right.
So
So
I love that. I totally agree.
it's such a
It's
odd,
powerful.
Yeah, it's such an odd thing to compare to us swimming, but it's such a powerful comparison.
You just
if
have to
you can
allow
allow
yourself
to get there.
Yep, you have to allow yourself to think there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share that, and I think it's so helpful to start to understand what swimming is. It's crawling. It's not necessarily what humans are built for.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we are built for as humans is change and adaptation. So we can adapt to the water. It is never natural. You don't have to, DM me and say, hey, swimming's not natural for me. I know.
We know.
It's not natural to anybody. Some people are better at it than others, but it's not natural. So, keep that in mind. Let it be an opportunity to learn, because that's what humans are really good at.
Mm-hmm.
Really good at learning and adapting. So apply that instead of being upset that swimming's hard, because it is.
Everyone
knows
it's hard.
Everyone knows it.
I think like the last thing I want to say is that if I were to put any swimming concepts and told you had to swim through a pool of molasses, everyone would put in a lot more effort.
Right.
And then you think to yourself, oh my God, that sounds awful. Water is still heavy. You still have to move yourself through it. Okay? Like, it's funny when people think, or like you're moving through molasses or syrup or something, people are like, oh man. It's like, okay, you understand you have to put in effort because you've put yourself in a different liquid. You're still not in air, and like it's still denser than air. But it is interesting to me. Maybe I should just tell everyone from now on.
Yeah.
Just conceptually, you're swimming through tar.
Yeah, I used to, when I was younger, if I was like warming up at a meet or something and it felt sluggish, right, we would often say, oh, it feels like I'm swimming through molasses.
Mm-hmm.
But in hindsight, I actually think that meant I was doing a really good job of grabbing water. The water was heavy and it felt like
It
I
was
couldn't
hard.
move. Right?
Yeah.
It felt hard, but it was, but I was actually swimming pretty fast. I didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was just like this weird hindsight thing that I probably recognized well after college, like in my 30s probably. So I think it's an interesting thought. It's okay to feel like you're swimming through molasses as long as you're pushing hard, not that you're swimming mostly vertical. That's not okay.
No,
All right.
we're not Jesus.
Don't run on water. It's not swimming, A.
If you can, though, let us know.
I'd like to see it. Not gonna lie. I'd watch that video.
I'd watch that video. I'd share that video.
I would too. Speaking of which, feel free to share the podcast. Feel free to subscribe, like, I don't know, comment. You wanna
you wanna do for
DM
that
us on
algorithm.
Instagram or whatever. Hit up that algorithm, as we like to say.
I just like to say algorithm.
Yeah, it's nice. But until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.